Mark Coleman. Good to see you on here, bud. Hope you're doing well. Scott, Jeff, good to see you guys. Oh, Rick Stillman. John Seats, good to see you both on here. Got a few more people hop on here. I'm going to fire this off tonight, guys. Jeff, the new podcast building's coming along good. Can't remember his. Not this past weekend, the weekend before last. I got in there, got all the siding put on. So everything exterior is done. Now working on the interior, trying to figure out how I want to make it and what kind of products I'm going to use. And so bad thing about it is now I got the interior left to do and getting ready to hit the road for about the whole month of July. I'm going to be gone. So a lot of video shoots, a lot of marketing stuff going on the month of July. So this is going to be able to hit and miss. Hopefully get it done first part of August, I hope. Mark, you're saying audio and video are good, no subtitles though. Huh, I got subtitles on my end. I don't know why you don't got them on your end. That's crazy. Let's see if I can find something here. Yeah, it's showing it's turned on. I don't know what's going on, bud. Yeah, see what happens there. Rick, you're going to have a hard time finding Southern greens, bud. Um, we still have it online in the 40-pound bags. The small bags, we completely discontinued them out. We finally went through them. I'm actually in the process now, actually getting ready to get it shipped to me. I kind of got a Southern Greens mix on steroids where we decided to do some changes on that mix this year and make it even better. We're going to change the name of it a bit too. Um, if you find some Southern Greens, it's going to be stock from last year, but there's no new small quarter acre bags going out. Just the small, about acre and an eighth bags, or the big, acre and an eighth bags. You can get them online with free shipping, but the small ones, they're not out there, bud. I'm looking forward to testing this new one this year and just see how it goes. So I really, really, really like the mix. Got in with a seed company and got the percentages just right. The germination, the germ test we did on is fabulous. So we'll see what goes on. Mike, good to see you on here, bud. Hope you're doing well. Guys, I don't know what's going on with this closed caption deal because I got it on my end. I've shut it off and turned it back on, and I don't know why it's not relaying over to you. We'll see here. Yep. It's all turned on. I don't know what's going on. We have to get that figured out. Hope you guys can hear me and everything well. Like Mark said you could earlier. Mike asking if you can get a trophy room tour. You'll be able to see some of it in the podcast. The rest you're going to have to come and tour yourself because I'm not putting it out there for the public to see. So it's I'm really enjoying getting this all figured out. And the cool thing about it is my mother and father are the ones that really got me in the outdoors, and both of them are passed now. And I was lucky enough to, from the guns to the fishing equipment, my mom's last fishing pole, my dad's last fishing pole, their tackle boxes from back when I was a kid. I have all that, so I'm gonna make a memorial inside there for that. So I'm really looking forward to doing that and getting everything set up for that and finding all the right pieces that I want. Thank goodness my dad saved everything in this world. I'm still finding stuff in the machine shed that I just can't believe he saved. So kind of a neat deal. So not only is it going to be a trophy room, it's going to be kind of a little memorial type room as well. So looking very forward to getting it done. Jeffrey, good to see you on here, bud. Mark, all good. Perfect. Brandon, good to see you on here. Well, Mike McCord, good to see you. Well, let's go ahead and fire this thing off, guys. Got quite a few of you on here. I appreciate that. I don't know where you guys are at, but it's a beautiful evening here. I mean, it's finally cooled down a little bit. Mid 80s. That's pretty much cooled down for what it's been here. The temperatures have been scorching. The storms have been horrific. The rainfall is crazy. So just bad storms coming through all the time with all this heat and humidity. Good on the food plots, as long as trees aren't falling down in them. So, but tonight we're talking about choosing the right annual mix. Pretty simple one. There is a few things there that I can throw your way to kind of help you guys out there. You never know what Mother Nature is going to bring us. So it's kind of nice to talk a little bit about what to plant and when to plant it and when not to plant it. Because you never know. Like I said, right now, we've just been getting all these storms. We've had rain all year long. We're usually in a drought for the past 2 months right now, and we're not this year. It scares me to death to see what August and September is going to bring, even July. And usually that's when we start getting in a lot of the drought type situation when we want to plant the manual plots and no moisture in sight. So there's a few things we can do there, and this kind of helps steer you straight on some of that. So, Rick Stillman was on here, a buddy of mine, just a little bit ago, asking about our Southern Greens mix. For any of you that planted that, I love that mix. I really, really love that mix. I tested it for like 3 years before we brought it out. I killed a lot of deer off that mix, a lot of deer going to that mix. But I wanted to do some changes on it. So went back to the drawing board, got with the seed company, did some germ tests with some other seeds, finally got it to where we wanted it. Very happy with it. So I actually have some on its way now just to, I want to test it this year in a small area just to see what the deer do to it. And hopefully by ATA show next year in January, we're launching it, I'm hoping. So the Southern Greens is a mix now, like I said, that is not on the market for the small bags. We still have some of the 40-pound bags of it left. So when them are gone, it's completely gone. But you can buy that online with free shipping. Again, I love that mix, but I just wanted to tweak it a little bit. And I want to tweak the name too. I'm not a fan of the name, so I'm getting rid of the name and going elsewhere with it. And another exciting thing too is we're working on another good annual mix, very good annual mix that we're just now throwing together again, hopefully for next year. Do some testing on it this year if we're happy with it. Sometimes it takes us 2, 3, 4 years. The way I look at it, I try to tell everybody, and I'm kind of getting off subject here. It's easy to throw a mix together. and throw it on the shelf for somebody to buy it. It's easy to see that mix having a germination test done. How it grows in the laboratory can be completely different than how it grows out there with Mother Nature. So us with Antler King, we always test all our products with good old Mother Nature, either treating us well, bad, but that's how we know how this mix is going to perform, or any mix we do. It's how we've done all of them. So, but yeah, so there's 2 new mixes coming up that are going to be very good. Both of them are going to be annuals. And there was talk of another perennial the other day too. I actually had somebody launch a name for me from the corporate office, let me know that they're really getting serious with it. So you just never know what might be coming. We've been kind of quiet here lately, just letting our competitors throw all their stuff out there, us sitting back with all of our good stuff. And now I think it's time to rattle the cages a little bit and just show them what it's about. So we'll see how it goes. But let's get back to this talking about planting. If you're in there and you're out there looking for the perfect all-around late season food source, everybody knows this for honey hole. Honey hole is the #1 late season food source that you can actually give. Now, if you're looking for an early season, mid-season, and late season, there's a few different ones that you can throw your way. You look at the Slam Dunk. You can look at Fall, Winter, Spring. Look at Lights Out. You can look at Grade 8. Them are all great mixes for the early season all the way through winter. With the Grade 8 in the Fall, Winter, Spring, you're going to see high protein cereal rye come back the next spring for about 2 to 3 months and die off on its own. So it works out very well. For me, everybody knows me, honey hole, Slam Dunk, mix them together, ration them out, get them mixed together. That just gives me an ultimate early season, mid-season, and an unbelievable late season food source. So them 2 right there are my favorites, have been for many years. I was trying to think the other day on how long it's been. I'm trying to think when Slam Dunk came out. I know where I was at. I was at the QDMA show in Nashville. That's been years and years ago. That's when Todd launched that product. It was the first show I ever had it at. From that day, I started using it. And the second year, I started mixing it with honey hole, and it's fabulous. I love it. So, you're looking in the Midwest, these mixes here, honey hole, Slam Dunk, Grade 8, Red Zone, which is our soybean pea blend. In the Midwest, you're looking at, pretty much the month of August. I always shoot for the 1st to the 15th of August. You guys up north in Wisconsin, you're looking a little later. You can even Mid-Wisconsin, I'm looking that 3rd weekend of July. Northern Wisconsin, I'm looking 4th of July weekend. Getting ready to start planting this coming weekend. On brassica varieties, you just don't want to plant them too early. You do not want them getting stemmy. And I was out with Don Kisky with Whitetail Freaks this last week, and spent a lot of time with Don. Did a lot of videoing with him. He loves the honey hole Slam Dunk mixture just like I do. But we're really talking. Everybody always wants to show pictures and talk about these great big radishes, these great big long tubulars, or the turnips, the great big long radishes. And I'm the opposite. If it's bigger than a baseball, I'm upset, because the bigger them turnips get, the bigger them tubular radishes get, the harder they are for the deer to eat them. Yes, there's a lot of food there for them, but it's very hard for them to eat them. A lot of times they can be so big that they're not as sweet as they should be. So a lot of times people will plant these wanting to get a bigger turnip, a bigger radish, and they want to plant them early. And that is the wrong thing to do, because then plants will get stemmy. They never turn as sweet as they should. They're not as palatable as they should. So you always want to work. It's better to plant them late with small bulbs than early with great big. So, if I can walk out my honey hole plot and I can see my about the size of a tennis ball, I'm happy as a possum eating crap. I'm telling you right now, it is just, that's what I want to see, because them deer can actually watch a deer pick up an ear of corn. They pick that ear of corn up, put it in their mouth. They wring every bit of the corn off of it, spit the cob out. That's what they do to these small turnips. these small radishes. So they're not doing it with them great big ones. They nibble on the top and they walk away. So try not to plant them early. Get in there and plant them at the proper time or a little late. Now you get a lot of guys down the south, you're looking, you get real far south. The deer eat the greens off this stuff and these brassicas and stuff, but the bulbs and stuff, they never get the cold weather that they should. Or actually what I should say they need. So you really want to kind of steer away from that. So with that Southern Greens mix, the good thing about it was it had collard greens in it. And again, you can still get that on the 40-pound bags online with free shipping. But we sell the 1-pound bags of collard greens. Collard greens are unbelievable for the southern states. They are sweet and palatable as soon as they start growing. So it makes for a good early season, mid and late. Now, I'm telling you right now, if you don't have that big of an area, you're not going to have much late in it because they eat them early and mid-season. But you get them like our fall, winter, spring for the guys down south with the cereal rye and the peas and the buckwheat. You cannot beat it. I mean, it works out so well, and it's such a good soil builder as well. So really choose and pick for the right one for your area. The Midwest, I wouldn't hunt a property that didn't have honey hole planted on it with slam dunk. Grade 8 is just as well. If you look at grade 8, you got honey hole, you have fall, winter, spring, you have lights out and slam dunk mixed together. Got all 4 of them in one bag. You got 8 different varieties. It's giving you early to spring of the next year. So a lot of people ask me, why don't you just plant grade 8 instead of mixing your slam dunk and your honey hole together? I mix the slam dunk and the honey hole together because I'm gaining more tonnage by that, because I'm just working with them few products in them bags, and I'm not worried about the other stuff that grade 8 has in it, because I'm getting what I need from the slam dunk and the honey hole. Don't get me wrong, there is absolutely nothing wrong with grade 8. It is fabulous. But I'm looking for the most tonnage that I can get. And I know I can get the most tonnage out of honey hole and slam dunk. So from you guys up north, down through the Midwest, honey hole, slam dunk, grade 8, you just cannot beat them. A lot of people steer away from it. This is something you can plant all the way north, all the way south, and that's our red zone. Our red zone comes in a half-acre bag. You got your soybeans, your peas, your sunflowers, your buckwheat. And a lot of people think peas and soybeans like, well, I got to plant that in the spring. I never plant my red zone in the spring. I always plant it in the fall of the year. I shouldn't say I never. I used to plant it in the spring, and then I'd come back in and top dress it with honey hole in the fall because the deer would have it pretty much ate down to nothing, put honey hole over it, broadcast over it, and have a honey hole plot. But I started planting mine in the fall because what's the deer like the most when it comes with these beans? They love it when them green little sprouts come up. It's lush, it's sweet. That's what they want. So when you do a fall planting, before too long, the soybeans in your area, if you're like an area like me that has agriculture, your soybeans are going to start drying up. The deer are going to lay off of them. So when they lay off of them, there's nothing better than to have the fresh greens of these new soybeans and peas in the red zone mix coming up in your plots. That's where all the deer are going to go. But I'll tell you what, if you can't plant at least 2 acres of it, don't plant it, because the deer will completely wipe it out before it gets that tall. So make sure if you got a big number of deer, you want to plant a bunch of it. If not, they destroy it. You'll swear that the stuff ain't growing, because if you run a camera on it, them deer will get out there and just pick every plant to ground level. And you get a half dozen does a night, they'll wipe it out in a hurry. But let's talk about a little bit about your area. So let's say that, we got a drought coming in. You're wanting to plant the August 1st, August 15th, somewhere in there. Try to get in before Labor Day. And Mother Nature's not treating you right. No rain in the forecast. Haven't had any rain. The soil's dry, no moisture in it. And you're like, well, my year's done. I'm done. I don't want to plant my honey hole middle of September, which if you do, you're going to have some greens. The deer are going to eat them. It's better than nothing. But pick the mixes that will work the best for you. Just like I've been talking a lot about here lately. Fall, winter, spring. Fall, winter, spring is a mix that most people plant too early. Now I'm going to show you the fall, winter, spring. Now, another one they plant too early is the lights out. Fall, winter, spring, and lights out are two mixes that I will always plant a month later than my normal annuals, as my honey hole, my slam dunk, my grade 8, stuff like that. I'm planting lights out, and I'm planting uh, the fall, winter, spring a month later, and even later than that, because they're such a fast growing plant, especially if the lights out having 4 jotes in it. The cereal rye and the fall, winter, spring, they are such fast growing plants that if you plant them too early, they will get stemmy, head out on you, and the deer will not hardly touch them. They're just not palatable. So you want them in that growing state, just like brassicas. You always want your brassicas to be in their growing state when the first heavy frost hits. You never want them matured before a frost. That's why you never want to plant them early. They will just head out. The turnips and radishes will just sit there. They'll rot. They won't be as sweet. So, but for you guys that think that your year is over with, you couldn't get your plots in because there's no rain in sight, or you planted stuff and nothing coming up. I'll tell you a little story, and I've told it a million times on here, and a lot of people think I'm throwing a lot of bull their way, but the honey hole, it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, yes, that we were in a drought since early June, and come up to about the 15th of August, we finally showed our very first rain coming in since early June. I got out there. It was so dry, the plot just turned to powder. I hated that part of it because I hated powdery plot. But I got out there, got it compacted good, got it planted. The rain never showed up. We never got 1 ounce of rain on that farm from when I planted August 15th till the 3rd of October. And it was just a bare plot. It was so dry, the weeds wouldn't even grow in the plot. But I knew that seed was laying there dormant. Nothing could go wrong with that seed. The only thing could go wrong with it, birds got in there and picked it all out. But I compacted it good. I wasn't worried about it. I knew I wasn't going to get a big crop, but I knew I'd get something. As soon as it started raining, we got about a good 1.5 inches of rain in about 3 days, starting October 3rd. By the 15th of October, that honey hole was 8 inches tall. And I'll tell you what, the deer destroyed it. It never hardly had a bulb anywhere in it. It never had enough growing time before my first frost, but I still had the greens that I wanted there, just not the tonnage that I wanted, but at least I had something there better than nothing. So if you're ever worried about it, that your plant seeds are out there, unless you're planting something like peas, you get in there the oats, the cereal rye, the soybeans, the bigger seeds that the turkeys and the birds can really find and peck out of there. If you get them smaller ones, you don't have that much of an issue. The honey hole is the best one ever. If you're ever in doubt that you're going to plant something, you might not get moisture for quite some time, plant honey hole, because some little pencil lead seeds are getting every little crack and crevice, compact them in, and they will lay there dormant until that rain comes in. I've had people plant them, and it's crazy. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes with other people doing it, that they would plant them and actually plant them late because they didn't know any different, and not get any rain at all and get that heavy frost come in. And the next year, come spring, that honey hole germinated, and they had the biggest brassica plot you'd ever see. Yeah, they sprayed it and killed it off because it wasn't no good for that time of year. It was just going to get stemmy. But that seed laid there all winter long and then exploded when they started getting their spring rains in and that ground temp came up. So don't worry about seeds laying there dormant. What you want to worry about with seeds is if you got that little, maybe 1/8 of an inch of rain, and not having any rain before planting, getting that little 1/8 of an inch of rain, just enough to start that germination process, and then it goes to dry and hot. A lot of times you'll lose the seeds there because they just rot. So not enough moisture there to really get it going, and they're just going to lay there and they're just going to rot and die. Let's see what everybody's talking about on here. I know I'm just jabbering away. I'd rather answer your questions. Oh. Yeah, Mike's asking if I ever mix Southern greens with a slam dunk. I've never mixed them together, but you're going to gain so much more winter food by doing that compared to what you'd have with just the Southern greens. That'll work very, very well. Jeff Johnson talking about how fall, winter, spring became one of his favorites about 3 years ago. They hammer it. Jason's talking to Jeff about how he mixes honey hole with his fall, winter, spring. Robert's on here talking about what are you recommending for East Coast where it doesn't get a frost until mid to late December, spring, winter, fall. Yeah, the fall, winter, spring works very well for that. That'd be a very good one for that mix or for that area out in the East Coast. Work very well. This new mix, this Southern greens that we've been talking about that we have discontinued would be another very good one for there. And will be for next year because, like I said, we're revamping it, making it even better. Fall, winter, spring, you cannot go wrong with it. Truthfully, if I could only pick one mix and not mix them together, just one mix for the whole seasons, not just early, not just late, not just mid, but all of them. Right now I would go with the fall, winter, spring. Just because I know I want to get every season out of it. The grade 8 again is another awesome one for that. Your late winter tonnage, you're going to have a little more late winter tonnage with the grade 8 than you will the fall, winter, spring. But the early and mid season, you're going to have more on the fall, winter, spring side. So, but yeah, fall, winter, spring, you just cannot beat it. And I'll tell you what, guys, it grows so fast and so easy to plant and grow. It's ridiculous. Jason's saying, how come I don't see Mike's comments? Am I the only one? I don't know what Mike you're talking about here, but I think there's a few of them. You talking about Mike Polson? Don, good to see you on here from the UP. I appreciate you being on here, bud. I don't think I'm missing anything here. But no, guys, like I say, just picking the right thing for your area. I mean, it's no different than, one I haven't touched on because I'm always touching on more of the premium blends, but like our no sweat mix for our shaded areas. A lot of people look at a minimum till throw and grow type plot as a generic plot full of cereal, full of ryegrass, and it's just junk. And that's the farthest thing from the truth when it comes to the fall, winter. The no sweat. Now, does it have ryegrass in it? Absolutely. I would have a fit if it didn't have ryegrass in it. And a lot of people just don't understand the benefit that ryegrass actually provides a deer in its early growing stages. You look at ryegrass in an early growth stage, it's offering up there almost in 28% protein. Now, when that plant matures out, is garbage. But I love using ryegrass, and I mix the ryegrass. I buy ryegrass by the 50-pound bags, and I mix them with a lot of my different varieties, just because it is high protein when it's starting to grow. The deer will hammer it and leave a lot of other stuff alone because of the high protein content and the sweetness of it. And it makes for an awesome nurse crop that will thicken up the area and not allow them old nasty weeds and stuff like that to grow in and keep the broadleaf control down. So People are probably going to ask, well, do you use ryegrass in your honey hole? Absolutely. I mix about 6% ryegrass in my honey hole when I plant it. And the reason I do it is because I want the deer to have something high in protein to eat while it's growing. I want it to help with the ground control. And with honey hole not having any grass species in it, I can get in there after that ryegrass starts going crazy and starting to mature out. I can hit it with clethodim, kill all the ryegrass out of it, and then I got a beautiful brassica plot with hardly no other broadleaf, nasty broadleaves in it. So that's why I do it. And people just laugh at me and think I'm crazy, but a lot of people think ryegrass is junk. But I'll tell you what, guys, I'm a nutritional type guy, and if it can offer my deer up to 28% protein, I'll take the time to go out there and spray it after it gets matured and no good for the deer anymore. It's done its job. I'll kill it off. Then I got a beautiful brassica plot. So that's why I do it. Jeffrey, yeah, when I'm talking about shaded areas, you're asking if I'm talking about logging roads. You got logging roads. It's excellent way to look at it. Backwoods, clearing out spots. You know, you need to find something you can get a couple, 3 hours of sun on. You know, it's hard to find. There is things out there that will grow in the dark, but you're going to pay for them. But plants have to have sun. So you got to have some sun on them, but logging roads, ATV trails. One of these days I'll throw some pictures on here from when I do my speakings at the trade shows. I run a PowerPoint and I have about 10 different photos of ATV trails that I've actually planted with our Game Changer clover, which is an awesome one, spring or fall planting for a shaded area, then our No Sweat. And some of these were down to the part where I killed the area off. I got a 4-foot drag harrow, hook it on back to the bike, loosen up the top, and I'll literally just drive down the trail, just pitching off the seed out in front of me, letting the 4-wheeler run over, just pitching it out. And just to see what some of these 4-wheeler trails have turned out to be is amazing. So my favorite is Game Changer clover on it, because then I can maintain it for about the next 4 to 5 years and have a good stand, and I can still ride the ATVs and stuff over it, and it don't kill it like it will the annuals. Mike's on here asking if you did fall, winter, spring. If you did fall, winter, spring in the spring, would you have a lot of maintenance? Well, you'd only have food for a short period of time, because then plants will mature out and they get real stemmy and no good. And by the time summer comes around, this is going to be a mess. So with the fall, winter, spring is definitely a fall only planting. So I would highly recommend not planting in the spring. But what with the fall, winter, spring, what really happens with the cereal rye, which is a cereal grain, don't mistake cereal rye for a ryegrass. This is actually a grain head. The cereal rye will grow as fast as the deer can eat it down. As long as it's in its growing state, they eat it down and it just continue to grow throughout the year. So it's not a one and done. So that's what I like. In fall, winter, spring, I love it for a small food plot, just because if you take honey hole, slam dunk, stuff like that, as soon as the deer eat it down, it's gone. The fall, winter, spring with that cereal rye, and our grade 8 has it in there too, that plant will continue to grow until it gets its first frost on. And even though cereal rye is an annual, it acts like a perennial the first year. When you plant that in the fall, instead of it dying off with the first heavy frost, it goes dormant. And then it will green back up about a month earlier than normal spring green up. And it'll start growing again before your weeds and grasses do. It gets beautiful. You're looking about 30% protein. The deer will hammer it. The turkeys love bugging in it. I kill a lot of turkeys off of it in the springtime. It's one of my favorite things to turkey hunt off of is clover and cereal rye. But that cereal rye will only stay, it'll only be up there till about June-ish. and then you start noticing it just dying off, which is perfect because then it's about time to start working the plant again for the next fall. No problem, Mike. Scott's asking, Robbie, what is your best product for the fall in my sandy soil? Even though the pH is good, I'm in Missouri. Radishes love sandy soil. Slam Dunk's going to work very well in there. Radishes love that sandy, even rockier type soil. I've seen some of the biggest tubular radishes ever done that actually seed fell out of the back of a truck in a parking lot and it grew up in the road pack. It just blew me away. But yeah, Slam Dunk would be a very, very good one for you as an annual fall planting. If you're looking for more of a perennial type that you can plant spring or fall, the Game Changer clover does very, very well. The No Sweat does very well. That's what them two are actually designed for. But for the tonnage, you're going to get more tonnage out of the Slam Dunk than what you would over the No Sweat. So I would definitely go with the Slam Dunk in that sandier soil, especially in Missouri. And then again, guys, I'll just touch this a few seconds here on it because I know it's coming up here in another week or so, but you pick your right mix. Make sure you pick your right fertilizer. You know, these annuals, they love nitrogen. So make sure you're going with a nitrogen-based fertilizer because that's what they want. Now, if you're going with like the red zone, then no, you don't need the nitrogen on that, the soybean pea blend. That's more of a 0060 or a 02020. But all your turnips, brassicas, your brassica varieties, stuff like that, they all thrive on nitrogen. So make sure you get a good nitrogen-based fertilizer. Or the Jolt. Jolt works very well. Jeff, you're exactly right. Jeff Johnson's on here talking about how he mows down his fall, winter, spring after turkey season, after it greens up that next spring. After turkey season, he'll mow it down so it doesn't get too tall because it will get tall. That's very, very true. It's very hard to till under when it gets that tall. What other questions you got for me, guys? I'll tell you what, I'm very surprised though. I have became a good friend through work. This a customer calling in. I've talked to him for the last, oh shoot, I don't know how many years now, from Louisiana, and how much the deer destroy the tops of his honey hole and slam dunk stuff like that he plants. He plants a lot of it, and for Louisiana, usually you don't hear a lot about that, but he says his deer just destroy it, and tops alone. But it's just crazy. You just never know what the deer are going to do. I mean, if I lived in Louisiana, last thing I'd plant would be a honey hole. But after meeting some of these guys from Louisiana and talking to them on a daily basis and helping them out, it blows me away to see the pictures of them deer pulling up them brassicas out of that. It's amazing. So you just never know really until you try it. I know deer that will not eat honey hole in frigid, nasty, cold weather. And it's not the plant, it's the soil. So you can have the biggest, beautiful honey hole plot, brassica plot you can ever see. If your soil's not right, then plants will never turn as sweet as they should. The deer will not touch them like they should. But if you get that soil right and you get that pH up and the right fertilizer on, you can't plant enough of it. Mike talking about Robbie had everybody. Yeah, I had you spraying your nose sweat with Jolt. Oh yeah, it will make it explode. That's another thing people they look away from is foliar fertilizers. Yeah, don't let them take place of the granular, but as a substitute and get in there and give them a little drink here and there, man, they will explode. Jeff's talking about a customer wants to plant honey hole the next 10 days due to when he has time to do it. What kind of results might he get? Well, if you're talking about up there by you, Jeff, 10 days, man, that's a little early. I've seen some honey hole planted 4th of July weekend, pretty close to your area, and it gets pretty big, pretty stemmy, but the deer did still eat a lot of it. If I was him, I would want to push that as far back as I could. I would rather in your area, Jeff, wait till that 3rd weekend of July. Just doing it before that, you're gonna see some. To the naked eye, the person that's never done it before would probably not know a difference in it. But for me, knowing what deer should do to honey hole when it's planted at the proper time compared to planting it 3 weeks or so earlier, I mean, I can see it. A lot of the customers won't see that. They still think it's probably the best thing since sliced bread. But just to let him know that it could be better if you wait. Because I'll tell you what, if you get it planted too early and Mother Nature goes, hey, I'm going to give you a good ½ inch of rain every week this whole fall, you're going to have the best growing weather you ever seen. It's going to turn out bad for him because it is going to mature way early. But if Mother Nature treats him wrong and has a slow growing season, he could be just fine. It's just kind of throw it up there in the air and see what's going to go on. Well, I'll tell you what, Jeff, if he leaves for, well, you're saying he's leaving in 10 days. Okay, never mind. Yeah, it's just going to be his call. Just see what happens. 99% of the time, he might be all right just because Mother Nature never treats us that well. But I know if I planted it here almost a month early, it would she'd give me the best growing season I ever seen in my life, and then it'd be crap. So that's just how my luck goes. You know how it is, bud. All right, guys, what else you got for me? Got other questions? Throw them my way before we hop off here for 2 weeks. I would like to say though, guys, I know I probably said it a million times, but I really do appreciate you guys getting on here. You know, I do this for the fun of it to help you guys out, and it amazes me on how many people are on here listening to this, and how many comments I get weeks later for certain shows that people are still watching them on YouTube and stuff. It really blows me away, and I'm happy I can do it. I'm happy the company allows me to do it, and but you know, I appreciate it. I know it's beautiful outside, probably where you guys are at. You'd rather be outside, running around, looking at some velvet deer, doing something, but you're here listening to me, and I really do appreciate that. Don's talking about, oh, let's see here, Michigan, Upper Peninsula. What would you plant this time of year in the next couple of weeks? Man, I wish you'd give me a couple more weeks. You could actually get by with a couple different things, you know. Don, depending on if you're wanting a perennial or annual, you know, it'd be a good time to get a perennial plot established for the next year, like our trophy clover in a sunny area or game changer clover in a shaded area. But if you're looking more for an annual, I would probably in your area, if you're hunting all seasons, I'd probably go with that grade 8 or a mixture of the honey hole and slam dunk. If you're just looking for that late nasty cold weather only, I'd kind of push towards that honey hole alone. And the UP, you're not really too early, right? I mean, you're a little early, but it's not bad. I think you could get by with any of them with your weather. So just really depending on, like say, perennial, annual, which one will work best. The honey hole for late season only. I mean, most definitely. The slam dunk will work good. The fall, winter, spring would work good for a mid, early, and late season. But if you're looking for late season only, just a honey hole only. Oh, my favorite thing to do, James. What do I recommend to overseed in the fall in Tennessee into a soybean food plot? Honey hole, most definitely. That is my favorite thing in this world to do. I do it all the time, every year. And it works so well because it germinates so easily. It works like a minimum till type mix. Throw it out there on that soil. As long as you get seed to soil contact, it will grow. And you'll just have green strips through all that. It works out very, very well. Jeffrey, happy holidays to you too, bud. Mike, yeah, you're talking about being 4 inches of rain over average. Yeah, we're way over the average here as well. It's been nuts. We just been getting hammered with these storms that pop up, and they last about 10 minutes long, and they dump anywhere from 1 inch to 2 inches of rain on us within 10 minutes. It's just ridiculous. I appreciate it, Rick. Thank you. John Seats, I'll talk to you soon, my friend. Scott, you have a good holiday as well. Well, guys, we'll get off here and wish you guys a happy 4th of July. It's going to be a good one, I hope. So, weather looks like it's going to be good here for us. No rain in the forecast. Usually it's raining every 4th of July. So, no rain in the forecast. And wife and I are taking off for go watch the Cubs and the Cardinals play in Chicago. So, I'm going to be hot, dehydrated, and hurting by the time that's over with. It'd be worth it just being there with her. So, you guys have a great 4th, and we'll talk to you here in a couple of weeks. Take care.